Good morning. This is day 14 of our 15-day spring training series. My name is Lisa Lanasa and I'm here from diaVerge Diabetes to talk to you a little bit today about things I use to make my life in the kitchen easier. Now, in some of the previous videos, I've talked to you about my food scale, about some things I use to store snacks, and some various items, but today I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty about why I like some of these items and how they might be able to help make your food prep, food storage, baking easier. Now, we all know that low-carb eating does require usually a little bit more time in the kitchen, certainly more preparation and more planning ahead of time. So hopefully these types of things can help streamline your process in the kitchen and really get you to a point where things are easy and it's not making more work for you, rather taking away some of the extra work. So here we go. First of all, I don't bake a ton, but when I do, of course, I want it to be easy. I want it to be quick. I don't like huge gadgets and machines. I don't have a mixer. I don't have a fancy blender. I have a standard Oster $20 blender. It's not a big deal. You don't have to spend a ton of money on kitchen appliances or equipment. But that being said, there are a few things that I love. Now, these are things I've purchased all with my own money. This is not a sponsored post. These are things I use every day and I love, and I want to tell you about them. Here we go. I really love using Silicone Bakeware. These wash up the best for me. They do get a little discolored with use, as you might see in here, but honestly, that's not a big deal for me. I would use something like this for during my initial stages of low carb. I was low carb, high fat instead of high protein, and I use these for fat bombs. I also do low carb muffins for my kids and put them in these little muffin cups. There are lots of different dessert type of ideas. You can even do little low carb rolls in these if you want to, bread items. There are lots of different things that you can do, or even little quiche bites or frittata bites. So something like this is easy because I get done with it. Well, I get done baking or cooking something in here. You can pop the things out. I usually use a little olive oil or coconut oil spray on this before I put anything in it, just to ease the release, but overall they're great. I stick it in the dishwasher like this and it washes up well. So I love silicone types of things like this. For any baking, I would put it on a tray first just so it doesn't flex around and things drip out of it. Now, that being said, I also have a bigger item like this. And this is wonderful for brownies, for low carb rolls, for things like that. I have even done like salmon patties and little pizzas and things like that in here. The sky's the limit. You could do individual size meatloaf in something like this. It's amazing. And once again, I'd spray it with a little spray before I use it, cook whatever I need to in here. And then I usually hand wash this one just because it is a little bit bigger, but you can fold it and put it in the dishwasher as well. Silicone is amazing. It cleans up really well. Along those same lines, I use silicone baking rings like this for eggs. First of all, I would spray or butter the pan, put this down with heat on and to create a seal on the bottom, and then I pour my eggs on top. I've also used these to create nice little burgers or salmon patties or tuna patties or pancakes, low carb pancakes. The sky's the limit with these things. They are wonderful. And then when the bottom is cooked, you just lift them off. And what I do is I take the tines of a fork and stick it right in here, lift it off that way. Because this metal does get hot. I know that's what the little dot here is supposed to be, but I burned my fingers, so I learned the hard way. A fork works perfectly to pull these things off. You flip what you need to flip, and it's great. They usually come on Amazon as a set of 4. So I have 4 of these guys. They're incredible. Some I believe are sets of 5. So that's some of my silicone bakeware that I love. Now, finally, on the whole silicone rant here, I do love it. I hope you can tell that. The Silicone Baking Mat. This is from Amazon Basics. In the United States, it was a set of 2 of these mats for $12, I believe. Very affordable. They last forever. I hand wash these after I use them. Keep them on the tray. Just put a little soap and use a nylon scrub brush on them. Don't cut directly on these mats, but they are wonderful for no stick. So I will do cookies on this mat. I will roast vegetables. I'll put it under the broiler on this mat. It's amazing. And especially if you use a good quality tray that doesn't warp or bend, this mat is wonderful. You will have great results with this. So there are tons of different mats on the market. This one actually has a fiberglass mesh inside that you might be able to see, and it just makes it a little bit more durable. I have had one that doesn't have the fiberglass inside, and it rips after a while. So this is what I love. I cook everything on it. It's incredible. Now, that's just a little bit about some of the bakeware that I use. For the other types of items, I have showed you some of these before. These little containers are Ziploc containers, and they're available in with Ziploc bags and things at Target and grocery stores. These are wonderful because they have measurement markings on it. There is a 1/4 cup and a 1/2 cup on these small items. And I use this. This is actually pre-mixed swerve and cinnamon that we use on cereals and things. I also use them for storage in the freezer. This is coconut milk that I've frozen, and it's perfect because it's a uniform size. I know exactly what I'm going to need for the next recipe, so I can put it in here and freeze it and then just pop it out after thawing on the counter for a few minutes and use it in a recipe. It's a great way to save your foods. Now, the big brother of that is this one, and this, it was actually in my freezer. Yes, it has a little frost on it. Tomato sauce. I talked about freezing tomato sauce. This is another great container for it. This is the big brother of this one. They stack perfectly, and they're meant to be somewhat disposable, but I use these forever and wash them in the dishwasher. They're perfect. I also use these for school lunches or for snacks, whatever. The big size is exactly double of the little size. It has a 1/2 cup marking and a full cup marking on it. Now, the big brother of both of those is this size, and this is wonderful as well. It has milliliter markings and the 2 cup marking on here. If you fill it all the way up, it is 3 cups. So you do get quite a bit of storage space in something like this. I don't actually use this too much for freezing because I find that you have such a solid block that it's often bigger than what I need, and I have to thaw the whole thing, and then it gets to be more of a problem. So I love these 2 small sizes for freezing. Now, all that being said, 2 glass items that I really love and use all the time. I'm not such a fan of cooking in plastic, particularly plastic like this that may or may not be safe for the microwave. So for my day-to-day food storage, if I'm just going to be storing in the refrigerator, I try to use glass whenever possible. I love these clip-top containers from IKEA, of all places. They're really inexpensive. They're glass containers. You can see I have my leftovers in here all ready for a lunch. This is a salmon patty from the other day that I actually cooked with those rings, and a piece of low-carb spanakopita that's on the diaVerge website. But these containers are amazing. They are heavy, so you might not want to pack them for lunches if you're going to be carrying the bag around for a long time or having kids knock it around. But if an adult is bringing it to an office and having it sit there, these containers are incredible. And they are a no-spill lid because it clips on, and food actually stays fresh in these a lot longer than it would in just some standard container with a lid that sits on top. So my last item that I wanted to talk to you about is my favorite. I love these old school ball jars, these mason jars, the Ball brand, I should say. And these are amazing. I would put liquids in these and freeze these. Now, there's some contradictory information online about freezing liquids in glass, especially glass jars with a neck like this. What you want to do is, if you're cooking up bone broth or soup, something that you're going to heat up as a whole unit, like I said, with some of the bigger containers, I don't like using those because I don't usually need that much of a sauce or something like that. But with soup, I want to do a big pan of soup afterwards. So I'll freeze in something like this, and I fill up to the 600, possibly up to the 700 milliliter mark, but no further. You don't want to fill up to the neck because the liquid will expand in the freezer and you'll crack your jars. Not only losing your jar, but losing all of the bone broth or soup or whatever you have inside of it because of possible glass shards. So be careful with using this. This is a traditional 2-part lid for canning, but if you are using it just for freezing, you don't need to worry about the traditional canning methods. So what I do, fill it up to the 600 milliliter mark with soup or broth, and then I will put the lid on, not completely, I will not screw it on completely, refrigerate this until cold, and then I will screw the cap on the rest of the way and freeze it. And that way I have never had a glass jar crack. This is the standard size top. There is also a wide neck top that doesn't have this collar area, neck area on it. So that would be a little bit safer for freezing, but if you have jars like this, feel free to use them, just don't fill them up all the way. I do love storing things like this in the freezer because it's vertical. I feel like I can get a lot more into my little itty bitty freezer rather than having a low container. So I hope that this has given you some good information. These are all really, really simple solutions, but I found that they're something that works well for me. I don't have a ton of high-tech equipment in my kitchen. Like I said, I focus on the simple. I have some hand mixers. I do a lot of things by hand in the kitchen instead of maybe the more modern approach, but this is what works for me. I love storage in glass. I love cooking in silicone. Anything that can make my life easier, I'm all for it. So thank you very much for your time here. I appreciate all the time that you've spent with us over the last 14 days. I can't wait to announce our winner tomorrow. I'm just dying here. I've been putting together the prize package for our most consistent commenter, and I will be bringing that to you tomorrow morning. So today on the comments, please leave a note and say, did you find any of this interesting? Or what do you use in your kitchen? Something that makes your life easier. Certainly if you want to do a high-tech gadget, that's fine. We're all for that. My highest tech gadget in my kitchen is probably my crock pot, which is really not very high-tech at all. But anyway, whatever works for everybody. So tell us, do you have any of the silicone bakeware? Do you love it? Do you like storing in glass or plastic? What works for you? We're all going to be different. Please respect everybody's opinions, and we look forward to carrying on the conversation on Facebook. Thanks so much, and we'll see you tomorrow for our final day. Bye.